Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very, very important live video update tonight. So first and foremost, I want to address obviously the breaking news of today, something of course that we have been warning people about for some time now, and that is of course the fact that the World Health Organization has officially declared a new global health emergency, and no surprise, it is none other than good old monkeypox. So if you've missed this, this is the article. Please make sure you go and read it so you are aware of what is going to come. So it is entitled, WHO declares global health emergency over deadly new Mpox strain. The World Health Organization has declared a global public health emergency over the rapid spread of a deadly new virus strain, sounding its highest possible alarm. World Health Organization, WHO, on Wednesday declared the Mpox surge in Africa a global public health emergency, sounding its highest possible alarm over the worsening situation. Worried by the rise in cases in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the spread to nearby countries, WHO hastily convened a meeting of experts to study the outbreak. Today, the Emergency Committee has met and advised me that in its view, the situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. I have accepted that advice, WHO Chief Tedros, told a press conference. A PHEIC, a FEIC, Public Health Emergency of International Concern, FEIC, almost sounds like fake, doesn't it? Just saying. Is the highest level of alarm under the international health regulations, which are legally binding on 196 countries. The detection and rapid spread of a new clade of Mpox in eastern DRC, its detection in neighbouring countries that had not yet previously reported Mpox, and the potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying, said Dr. Tedros. It's clear that a coordinated international response is essential to stop these outbreaks and save lives. Where have we heard that before? This is something that should concern us all. Ooh. And then there's a little subheading, troubling news subclade. The UN Health Agency's decision comes the day after the African Union's health watchdog declared its own public health emergency over the growing outbreak. Dr. Tedros said the more than 14,000 cases and 524 reported deaths so far this year in DR Congo had already exceeded last year's total. The emergence last year and rapid spread of clade 1b in DRC, which appears to be spreading mainly throughout sexual networks, but its detection in countries neighbouring DRC is especially concerning, he said, citing Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda, something that affects everybody, of course. Such big tourist destinations. Dimi Ogoina, who chaired the emergency committee, said the 15 members present unanimously thought the Mpox upsurge was an extraordinary event. You love these emotive words they use. He said many members feared the known situation in Africa was actually just the tip of the iceberg, because without more robust surveillance, we don't have the full picture. Maria Van Kerkhove, the WHO's Epidemic and Pandemic Preparedness and Prevention Director, insisted we can stop transmission of Mpox with a concerted effort. But, it's always a but. She said experts needed a much better understanding of the epidemiology, the transmission patterns, which would help make sure the limited number of vaccines could be deployed to best effect. 2 vaccines for Mpox are recommended by WHO immunisation experts. Of course they are. A FEIC has only been declared 7 times previously since 2009 over H1N1 swine flu, poliovirus, Ebola, Zika virus, Ebola again, COVID-19 and Mpox. Marion Koopmans, director of the Pandemic and Disaster Management Centre at Erasmus University in Rotterdam, said a FEIC declaration raises the alert globally. So, watch out, people. So, this, of course, is something that we have been warning people would happen for quite some time. I want to make it clear, of course, that it is certainly not cause for alarm, but people definitely do need to be aware of what the media are now spruiking and what the possible ramifications could be moving forwards. I mean, Why do you think the WHO have been pushing so hard in recent years for everyone to sign up to their pandemic treaty? Why have places like New Zealand just increased the special powers available under their new updated pandemic plan? Why has the Australian government been speaking about pandemic preparedness, over the past few years? This is why. We've seen this coming for a while now. We've been warning people about it, so please just be aware of it. Now, obviously, I can't say too much on this video, otherwise it will, of course, be quickly censored by the good old fact checkers. But please do make sure that you listen to Tuesday night's radio show podcast. It has now been uploaded to our website. Now, we clearly preempted this. We gave people some really, really important information on how to protect themselves, including, of course, the relevant legislation to be aware of, especially here in Australia, what they actually can and can't do. We also went through some articles that we definitely recommend that people download and print off and have ready in case they try and implement anything again here. And please, of course, if you or anyone that you know is in New Zealand, do make sure that you are aware of this new pandemic plan. Okay, this was just updated last month. Okay, and the ramifications of that are really quite concerning. So again, we covered all of that in detail on Tuesday night's radio show. So again, please make sure you listen to the podcast. Just go onto our website, go onto the right-hand side, scroll down to the members area, look for 2024 podcast, click on that, and you'll find that podcast. Remember, it costs less than $5 a week to join up as a podcast member. You can join up monthly or annually. You can stop whenever you want, but there's some really good information up there, and I dare say there's going to be some really good information coming out over the coming weeks and months. Okay, so the other big news that you may have missed today is actually a major High Court case which asks the vitally important question, can judges be sued for making mistakes? Now, this is obviously a very, very interesting case, and here's what the media have said about it so far. I urge everyone to have a look into this. So it is entitled, High Court to Decide if Judges Can Be Sued for Making a Mistake in Sentencing. Can judges be sued for making a mistake? That is the question that will be put to the High Court when it sits in Adelaide today. The case involves the wrongful imprisonment of a man caught up in a family property dispute who successfully sued Federal Court Circuit Judge Salvatore Vasta in 2020. The man also sued the Commonwealth and Queensland governments, saying they were vicariously liable for his treatment, ultimately winning more than $300,000. Judge Vasta jailed the man for 12 months for contempt of court after he said he had not provided certain financial documents as ordered. The man was taken away by security staff, handed to police, and eventually ended up in jail. In their submissions to the High Court, his lawyers detail a humiliating experience of being incarcerated, assaulted, and threatened over the several days he was in custody. In the end, Judge Vasta ordered a stay on his detention after he said he would appeal against the ruling. So, can judges be sued for making that mistake? This is what we need to find out. Then goes on to the next subheading, question of judicial immunity for judges of lower courts. Today, lawyers for Judge Vasta will argue he should have the same immunity from being sued as judges of higher courts. The reason for judicial immunity are the protection of judicial independence, and finality, the submission said. When Judge Vasta is up against the original ruling, which found immunity for judges in lower courts is limited and does not apply to an inferior court judge who acts outside of jurisdiction, even where they did so unknowingly. Okay, now this of course is so important, because one of the big things that we teach people about is how to correctly challenge the jurisdiction of the court. So they can't possibly claim that they didn't know, but this court case is going to look at the case of what happens even if they claim that they didn't know, because the same principles apply. So we're obviously going to be keeping a very close eye on that case and obviously follow it. And the good thing is that you can do exactly the same as well. So all you need to do is go to the High Court website and look up case C3 /2024. C3 /2024. Just look it up on the High Court website. You'll find a copy of all of the submissions, all of the oral arguments. You can find it all listed there on that website, and it will be very, very interesting to see how it plays out. Now, of course, it would certainly be fantastic if the High Court actually did its job and agreed that those who act without proper jurisdiction or make incorrect findings or rulings can actually be held to account for their actions. So watch this space. All right, now moving on, I was very excited to finally see the end of this ridiculous woke Olympics and this sort of madness that we saw going on during that Olympic period. This insanity of men fighting as female boxers. And I mean, what on earth do you want to make of this thing? But anyway, I was hopeful that the Olympics was over, so the insanity was over, and we could, get back to some semblance of normality again. But sadly, alas, it seems like no, that's not the case, because there was an article that came out just yesterday about a local council that, get this, handed a lollipop man, a school crossing guard, a ban on giving kids high fives. Yes, it's true, as ridiculous as it sounds, this is the actual article. It is insane. Beloved lollipop man banned from high-fiving primary students after parent complaint. A school community has been left outraged after a cherished lollipop man was banned from high-fiving students following a parent complaint about the innocent gesture. Students of Mount Dandenong Primary School in Greater Melbourne will no longer receive high fives from their beloved crossing supervisor John Goulden during drop-off and pick-up after he was reprimanded by Yarra Ranges Council. Mr. Goulden, who was recently crowned one of Victoria's top crossing supervisors, has been warned by the council against initiating unnecessary physical contact with the children. Outraged parents have rallied behind the cherished lollipop man, with one beginning a petition to have the ban removed. Parent and petition organiser Rowan Bradley said Mr. Goulden has an infectious joy that leaves a lasting impression on students and parents. His high fives in the morning and afternoon have become a tradition that many children look forward to, a small gesture that symbolises the warmth and friendliness of our unique community, he said. Sadly, this tradition is under threat. With our children's happiness and well-being hanging in the balance, we need to take action. We implore those in charge to let John continue to high-five his students, preserving an act that sparks joy and promotes a more positive learning environment. Petitions already gained more than 500 signatures as parents and students stand with the community's morale booster. In a statement, Yarra Ranges Council confirmed they'd received one single complaint from a parent at the school about the crossing supervisor dishing out high fives as students were being driven past him on Farndons Road. Council's internal policies and the Victorian standards clearly states that unacceptable behaviours include exhibiting behaviours with children and young people which may be construed as unnecessarily physical. Council has reminded the contractor, who is currently supervising children at the Mount Dandenong Primary School, of expectations of the role regarding interactions with children. In July, the council named Mr. Goulden the Region 4 Crossing Supervisor of the Year for his outstanding contributions to community safety. I mean, seriously, one parent, who the hell is this parent? They need to be high-fived in the face, first and foremost. One parent complains about that and, they lose their minds. But how many people complain about all of this, LGBTQB, XYZ being taught in the schools and everything, and no one does anything? They want to keep going on. Drag queens reading stories, and that's perfectly fine. But you can't high-five kids at the crossing. What has the world come to? Okay, that's why I literally put in the title to tonight's video, Has the World Gone Mad? Because, it certainly seems that, that's the case. Now, thankfully, there is a small, tiny glimmer of hope there is still some modicum of common sense out there, albeit very slight, and I've got two articles to share with you in that regard tonight. Now, the first is actually an article about the Bulgarian parliament that has finally decided to put an end to this incessant LGBT rubbish and propaganda in schools and actually banning it. So, Australia, take note. This can be done, and this is the sort of thing we need to do here. So it's entitled, Bulgaria Law Bans LGBT Propaganda in Education. According to Euronews, a proposed amendment to Bulgarian education law was passed by Parliament on August 8, 2024, banning LGBT propaganda in the country's education system. This news has provoked the fury of activists and LGBT organisations. Of course it has. The amendment was proposed by the Vazardane Revival Party and forbids the propaganda, promotion or incitement in any way, directly or indirectly, in the education system of ideas and views related to non-traditional sexual orientation and or gender identity other than the biological one, Euronews notes. Members of Parliament approved the draft law with a large majority, giving it 159 votes in favour, 22 against and 12 absentations. The same news agency reports they defined non-traditional sexual orientation as contrary to Bulgaria's leading concept of emotional, romantic, sexual or sensual attraction between persons of opposite sexes. In a statement, the Revival Party affirmed that the law should have a positive impact and strengthen the traditional Christian values of family, love and respect in line with Bulgaria's cultural, educational and legal tradition. When they've been trying to impose for decades has simply failed in Bulgaria. Bulgaria has thus set a positive example that other countries will soon be able to follow, the party's chairman stated. The vote only approved a draft bill, but the results suggest the amendment will soon be adopted. With this in mind, calls to the European Union have been frenetic on part of the LGBT associations and the chorus of Western media outlets that insinuate that the law capitalised on the widespread outrage over the scandal of the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in Paris. This upheaval shows how necessary this law is. It protects children whom some would like to be able to indoctrinate into depravity and the sin of ignominy in the name of human rights against their parents' will. In Bulgaria, the population is largely opposed to this propaganda. So well done to the Bulgarian Parliament and, of course, the Bulgarian people. And, of course, this is the type of thing that we want governments to ban, not, high fives for kids. Let's keep things in perspective and get things right. Now, the other article concerns the group that actually controls the BAFTA awards, who have chosen to stand their ground and they have refused to create any kind of gender-neutral categories for their awards. So again, this is another interesting article for those who want to have a look. It's entitled, BAFTA Refuses to Create Gender-Neutral Acting Categories, Wants Non-Binary Stars to Pick a Side. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts, BAFTA, has announced that it will not be introducing gender-neutral categories at its awards ceremony. Despite growing pressure to recognise non-binary talent, BAFTA has opted to maintain its traditional male-female categorisation, seemingly telling non-binary stars to choose a side if they must be recognised for awards. The move by BAFTA sparked serious contention on social media as fans shared their varied reactions. According to the Daily Mail, BAFTA has snubbed non-binary performers after it opted against creating a non-gendered acting category for award recognitions. It noted that nominees would now have to choose whether or not they compete as actors or actresses. The organisation released revised guidelines last week, noting that film producers must confirm the gender or gender identity of each candidate for nomination. A source told the news outlet it's up to the entrant which category they enter into. So I tell you what, great to see some, common sense finally. I mean, after this, complete farce of this, woke Olympics, to see common sense prevailing again is great. And please, long may it continue. Let's stop pandering to these insignificant minority groups. Let them sort themselves out however they choose, whilst the majority of people are just left to get on with their lives as normal. Let's get back to that. Okay, so one of the other topics that I've spoken about numerous times this year, and of course over the past few years, is this push for everybody to sign up for some form of digital ID, starting of course with a MyGov account. Now, the powers that be are finally starting to realise that people are very, very hesitant to do that, so now they're trying to sell this idea to the masses in new and different ways, like this. So again, please make sure you look this article up because it is so, so, so important. This digital ID is everything. It is the crux of everything moving forwards. So this is entitled Bill Shorten to Announce New Trust Exchange for Digital ID. The Australian government is set to introduce a new tool that will allow businesses to verify your identity using a government-issued QR code. The system, called the Trust Exchange, or TEX, will connect to a user's MyGov wallet or digital ID without the need to hand over any documents. The QR codes can be used for job applications, hotel bookings, or entry into a pub or RSL clubs. Minister for Government Services and NDIS Bill Shorten is set to announce the technology at the National Press Club today. Services Australia is partnering with other government systems to develop TEX, which would give Australians the ability to verify their identity and credentials based on official information held by the Australian government. There's the problem. That means sharing only the personal information to get the job done, and in some cases not handing over any personal information at all. When booking a hotel room, for example, when customers check into the hotel, they are usually asked for some form of personal ID, like a driver's license or passport. With the TEX QR codes, instead of presenting the documents to be photocopied, you'll scan the QR code and choose what information to share. Shorten will say codes digitally shake hands with your MyGov wallet, leaving you with a record in your account of what you shared and who you shared it with. When asked to provide proof of age at a pub, a user will be able to present their QR code to verify your identity, address and age. None of that information needs to be kept by the club, Shorten said. What will be left is a token showing that your data has been verified but not held by the club. These tokens will be of no use to potential criminals since they don't contain any real information. All that has been exchanged has been a digital thumbs up from the government that you are who you say you are. The Trust Exchange is currently in the proof of concept stage, but set to launch later this year. This is what you need to be aware of. Now, of course, it all sounds good that your personal information isn't being held by all of these different, companies and organisations. But again, the number one issue, of course, is that it is still being held by the actual government. So please be very, very wary of this scheme. Do not hand over your private personal information to the government, and please urge others to be aware of this as well. Okay, so the final article that I want to cover tonight is in relation to this huge surge in the use of mobile phone cameras, and of course the corresponding increase in the number of unjust and unlawful fines that are being issued as a result. So this is quite a lengthy article. I'm just going to share the key bits with you. But again, please go and look this up because this affects everybody in every state and territory. So it says, what do mobile phone cameras look like? Here's how to spot them. Mobile phone detection cameras are increasingly popping up around Australia. Here's how they catch drivers in the act. A recent mobile phone camera blitz in South Australia caught almost 31,000 drivers using, touching or looking at their mobile phones while driving in only 1 month. Now, maybe it was me. Maybe I must have missed it. But there must have been a story, of course, about 31,000 accidents that occurred in that month in Adelaide, because of course touching your phone is so dangerous that it causes accidents. If anyone can find that article, please, send it through to me. During the first month of the camera's operations in South Australia, which coincided with the grace period in which only warning letters were issued, a whopping 836 motorists were caught on 4 or more occasions. Well, again, there must have been a follow-up article of the 836 motorists that were involved in accidents, because if they've used their phone 4 times, that's hugely, supremely dangerous. Again, if anyone can find it, shoot it through to me. Almost every state and territory in Australia, except for the Northern Territory and Western Australia, is now using mobile phone cameras to some degree, with steep penalties for those caught engaging with their phones while driving. New South Wales was the first in Australia to implement the cameras in late 2019, catching more than 3,000 drivers across the state in their first week of operation. Again, I must have missed the 3,000 accidents that happened in New South Wales in 1 week because of all of these people using their mobile phones, because it's so dangerous. The cameras have not been without controversy, with some drivers complaining they are an invasion of privacy due to the detailed imagery they capture. Absolutely, they're looking right through your windscreen. I've spoken to people, I've done coaching calls with people who they've got upskirt photos of passengers and drivers, just sitting in their car going about their daily business. I mean, it's nuts. At the same time, authority figures have warned they could clog the courts. Sounds like a brilliant idea. With drivers disputing the cameras' potentially inaccurate findings. There you go. While others have accused them of being a sheer revenue-raising exercise. You think? So then there's a subheading that says, what do mobile phone cameras look like? So they've got pictures there of the fixed cameras and the mobile cameras. Again, if you want to know what these cameras look like, so you can keep an eye out for them, again, read that article because all the photos are there. Then it says, what do mobile phone cameras detect? Mobile phone detection cameras usually capture multiple images of the front seats of the vehicle as well as the car's number plates. Artificial intelligence software then sifts through these images to detect possible illegal mobile phone use, as well as failure to properly wear a seatbelt. Illegal mobile phone use while driving includes operating a mobile phone, holding a mobile phone, having a phone resting on your body, or looking at the display of a mobile phone, even one held by another vehicle occupant. Images that don't appear to show illegal behaviour are deleted. Sure they are. While images identified as showing potential law-breaking behaviour will be flagged for further review by the authorities. The article then goes on to detail where the actual cameras are in each state and territory and what to look out for. So again, a very, very important article. Please make sure you do go and read that for yourselves so that you are aware of what they're doing. Of course, we've covered a number of times on these videos, how often these AI cameras get it wrong. We've covered a number of, well-known court cases where people have challenged the images, and of course they've had their fines waived and had the fines dismissed and withdrawn. These cameras get it wrong all the time. So please, there are, of course, numerous arguments that you can use if you ever receive one of these fines from one of those cameras. Breach of privacy, obviously, photographing without consent, the flawed MD5 algorithm regarding, of course, the transfer from the digital photos to the hard copies, and numerous other arguments as well. Now, of course, the majority of those arguments are covered in that Aussie speeding fines book. You'll find a link in the description. There should be one going up in the comments section as well that details all those arguments. And, of course, it includes that tried, tested and proven three-step process for challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. So please, if you don't yet have that book, please make sure you grab one. Now, on the topic of fines, just before we wind up, I do want to go through the latest testimonials with everyone again tonight, because once again, a number of our members have successfully used our information and strategies along with the arguments that are detailed in that Aussie Speeding Fines book to successfully challenge a number of fines again this past week or so. So this is the first one from Luke, and you can see there that's the withdrawal notice there. He says, hi Mike, just to let you know I had a $325.60 fine for failure to vote in Victoria, cancelled on the grounds of using an exceptional circumstance excuse, Electoral Act 2002, Section 166. This stuff works. Happy for you guys to use this as evidence for your testimonials. Please find attached the letter from Fines Victoria. Cheers, Luke. And there's the decision of review and withdrawal. That's all written there. And then there's one from Violetta. That you can see here is in relation to a red light camera. It says, hi guys, well I tried to assist my elderly father-in-law as he does not speak English very well, so I attended court with him. He pleaded not guilty and they made us go into a room with the police officer. The police officer saw the 3 letters and I sent to them and said, someone's been Googling letters online and they don't work. I didn't say much, and my father-in-law stood his ground and kept saying he did not go through a red light. The police officer tried to intimidate him to change his plea to guilty, and he wouldn't. Then the police officer tried a different angle and said to him, sometimes our mind is telling us one thing, but you are really doing another thing. No. I asked him for proof, and he showed me the photo of the car already past the white line, and I asked him for proof where the light is red because he crosses the white line, and I also asked for a photo of the driver as it could have been someone else driving. We ended up postponing to another day. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the second time, and they made him change his plea to guilty. My father-in-law went into the courtroom, and the judge asked my father-in-law if he's been driving for 50 years and never received a fine, and he agreed, and then the matter was dismissed. The police officer was dumbfounded and peed off. Kind regards via letter. So again, that information in that Aussie Speeding Fines book, those strategies absolutely do work. You just have to keep standing your ground. So again, you'll find those links in the description. All right, so just before we finish off, as always, I do want to go through the latest memes to get people thinking. Oh, now before I get to that, we have had another huge spate of attacks on our website. They really, really don't like us. As you can see here, 443 attacks over the last 10 minutes. This was the other day. So 443 attacks in just 10 minutes. Okay, the powers that be do not like us sharing this information. So please, if there's information that you want on our website, go access it, download it, print it off, save it somewhere. If you're interested in any of our products, which I'll get to in a second, please order them now. Obviously, we've got lots of security processes in place, and we hope to remain, up and running. But if these attacks continue, who knows what might happen. So grab the information, download as much as you need to, get any products that you want to sooner rather than later, just in case something happens. All right, so this is the first one. I'm just going to leave this for you to have a quick look at. But as it says, you are here. We've got The Matrix, Mad Max, 1984, Truman Show, They Live, okay, Brave New World, and we are smack bang in the middle of it all. Okay, I'm sure many of you can relate to that and have seen many of those movies. Yes, this one. I mean, it's just so simple and so obvious, and yet people still don't get it. This is what the pharmaceutical companies are all about, and this, of course, is what the doctors are. They are drug peddlers for these drug companies. Your disease is caused by your lifestyle. Oh, so should I change my lifestyle? Oh, no, not at all. Here's a pill. Okay, that's how they treat this madness. Okay, see through it and take the right steps yourselves. Ah, yes, good old George Carlin. Who doesn't love a good George Carlin quote? And on the back of that High Court case that is in the courts right now, this certainly applies. So as it says, the real reason we can't have the 10 Commandments in a courthouse, you cannot post, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, and thou shalt not lie in a building full of lawyers, judges, and politicians. It creates a hostile work environment. So true. And I'm just going to leave you with this one. It's a little bit hard to read, but I will read it out for you. But again, it's all about this digital ID. It is so important. So as it says there, if you resist only one thing in your life, one thing, resist digital ID. You'll be very sorry if you don't. Okay? So important. They can't have CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, without the digital ID. We must resist that digital ID at all costs. So I'm going to leave things there tonight. As always, I do urge you to please make use of all the resources that are available to you, to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We do need that this year more than ever before. There is so much going on. Okay, so please, again, all these videos completely free to watch. Okay, you'll find them on our videos tab on our Facebook page, on our BitChute channel, and there's also a lot of them on our YouTube channel as well, certainly the ones that we can upload. Our radio shows every second Tuesday night, a live radio show, and on the off weeks we are replaying a previous radio show as well. Again, they're completely free to listen to on the Tuesday nights. If you've missed any of the past shows, you want to revisit on some of the past shows we've done over the past 10 years, you can do a search on our website, you can join up as a podcast podcast member for just $5 a week, and access all of those podcasts, all of the notes for every podcast, even the transcripts for the last year or so as well. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond that, we do of course recommend our ebook, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights. Covers so many important topics, a really great starting point for people. Of course, that Aussie Speeding Fines book for challenging all unjust and unlawful fines. And we do know a lot of people are struggling financially at the moment, so please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans, your credit cards, your personal loans. They can be so easily and so quickly discharged using that tried, tested and proven 4-step process. Again, you can get these individually. There's links in the description. There should be some links going up in the comments. You can get them, of course, as part of the combo pack. You do get that Know Your Rights tote bag included just as a bonus, completely free of charge. So take advantage of that. We do have, of course, still our Know Your Rights caps and beanies. So the weather is starting to warm up in a number of places. So grab the caps, prepare. If you're still in the cold areas, grab some beanies. People see the logo, they come up, they have a chat. It's a really great way to meet like-minded people. And finally, of course, we do have our Perth events coming up in September. So do get along to those if you can. And if not, please grab a copy of our home study course. It's a complete recording of one of those 2.5-day live events. Okay, includes all the stuff on vaccinations and all that important stuff, which I dare say is going to become relevant in the coming weeks and months. So again, it's a great resource tool that you'll come back to again and again and again over the years. Again, you'll find a link in the description and the comments. So I'm going to leave things there. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Again, no live radio show next Tuesday, but we will replay an old show, and we will, of course, be back next Thursday night with another live video update. Until then, take care.